Primal Season 2, Episode 6. The Vikings are here for revenge. Will Spear and Fang be okay? Spoilers up ahead. Welcome back to AsArt. My name is Nick, and I have Britt with me here. Go check out her Instagram, chacha.chacha.cherry. Today, we're talking about Primal. We've covered all the other episodes of Primal, so subscribe to stay updated with all the Primal stuff, and we're going to jump into it. So, the Vikings have caught up with Spear and Fang, and they are wounded from all the arrows.
Oh gosh. And we just went through that whole episode that had nothing to do with it. So we just came out of a full-on, history shift of what's going on, a paradox, and then we came into the story again. Right. So it was cool to get back into the story. We were all waiting to see what happened, and we kind of saw what vengeance looks like.
Yeah, and
unfortunately for some people.
Yeah, they caught up really quick.
They jumped right into it, for sure. Yeah. Maybe we talked about this in the... Yeah, we talked about it previously when I mentioned... How are you going to take out Spear, Fang, and Mira with just two people? They just took out an entire village, an army. Yeah. I didn't think they had a shot from the beginning.
But they had the power of air power.
For a little bit. That's why I have a feather today.
But it's like, okay, Dumbo. But
Dumbo.
No, but the Dumbo had a feather to fly. But we had this attack from the sky, which is the only shot they really had. Because approaching them, that's not fair because there's a dinosaur, obviously, on Spear's team. And also Spear is a very just fighting machine. Like, he's built for fighting. He's square, he's big, he has big ankles, big wrists. He's just like a punching, kicking angry machine. He's like the Hulk, basically.
Yeah.
Very similar design to the Hulk. And is Mira his Betty?
Yeah, in the previous episode, they went over, technology and how there's an advantage to that. So it's funny that you bring up the flying. Are they birds? Because they're not dinosaurs. They kind of look like condors.
Yeah, which is a bird. A vulture.
Yes.
Like a prehistoric vulture bird.
Right. But there is that air attack. So we see that a lot in history within warfare as an advancement within technology. So it's funny that they went through that episode of using weapons and having to go back to raw fighting. And then in this episode, there is the air attack and we do have the birds. But then we do see that, the primal instinct did seem to take over and Spear learned. I mean, it's funny that we went over the whole legless thing too. And because it's like, okay, guys, you could just wing your way up onto the prehistoric creature. So I thought that was kind of cool though, how they tied that in. You could see where they're going with the story.
And the big reveal is the eggs. Are the eggs, right? The eggs are the big reveal. Fang has children probably in the future, and Spear, Mira, and Fang want to protect those eggs at all costs.
Right. Well, so Baby Daddy Red went down. I looked up his name, and it is Red, which I was very happy about.
Baby Daddy
and
Red.
When they did that flashback, and I was like, oh my gosh, because that was so sweet, and like you wanted something to come of it, and how Spear was so excited to see and understand what was happening even before Mira did. Spear caught on so quickly, and just seeing just the love and the family aspect that they were building was really cool. But then there's also this, well, we don't want Fang to move from the eggs. And so this is a full-on battle where we don't have Fang.
Yeah. And it was even funny too, even Fang having to allow Spear to get close to the eggs at first too. Oh, there was still even that barrier, you know what I mean? Like, even though they've been through all this, he's like, I don't know, hold on, buddy, like, back off.
Well, we do know that in wildlife, birds, if their eggs are touched, especially, birds of prey, if you get like a harpy eagle or whatnot, if their eggs have been touched by something else, they will actually destroy their own eggs. And so they're playing off of real science too, which I thought was kind of cool. It's not just an emotional thing for sure, but it's like, oh, that's very true, because if the eggs have been touched, then they can't actually hatch and the mother will break the egg. But the eggs were just birthed. Can we talk about just the expression that anyone had while Fang was plopping the eggs out. I watched the episode twice, right? And I watched my
Pretty
boyfriend
graphic, huh?
Christopher in that scene. And so of course I'm just watching him with like the
Mhm.
eggs coming out. Like, let's see your expression. And he's like, why do they have to show that? Because it's awesome.
Because it's awesome. Because it's if we can show violence, we can show that. If we can show limbs and being torn out and all that stuff, we can probably show this.
It really wasn't even that graphic. They could have been way more
No,
graphic with
no,
that.
it's not.
But I thought it was kind
And plus,
of
it's an
like
egg. It's
jaw
not like a
dropping. And
mammal.
there's three this
Yeah.
time, not two. So before
Mm.
Fang had two kids, and now there's three, which is interesting because there's three characters right now in the family too, which is
Mhm.
Mira and Fang and Spear. So I was like, okay, there's the 3-on-3. But let's talk about your favorite character, Eldar. The son.
The son. Oh man, his little squishy face.
I feel like they changed up his face a little bit too.
Yeah,
I felt
it
like he
must
looked
also
a little
just
bit
might
more
have.
masculine.
Yeah, it might have been the angles too in the one episode.
Or the
like,
helmet.
weird. It could have been the helmet or the full-on metal gear around his neck. But man, that poor kid got whipped around like crazy.
Did
He
you
got beat up.
think of the Avatar James Cameron film at all? With them
Oh, when they were
climbing?
flying around? Oh, when they were climbing? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't think of Avatar, but I can definitely see that. And also like the riding aspect too. It's like, you have to, overpower this animal to earn its respect to fly and stuff like that. But I really like the
I
language
mean, they were cool in the Avatar about it.
Yeah, but I really like the language that they spoke while climbing. Oh,
Excuse my cat. Like, I have a Fang myself. He wants the feather. Hold on.
But the language was so cool that they used, like when they were climbing, because it definitely had that like Nordic or like Viking flair to it, even though it's not like a real language, but it has roots of a real language.
Right. Well, it's definitely Celtic. When I was looking it up too,
Yeah,
that's what they're
Celtic,
playing
yeah.
off
Mhm.
of.
Yeah.
So we were right. And it was rad to hear them speak. Like I couldn't figure out if the dad had a name or not, but he's just a chieftain. Because they were saying like I felt like they were saying Heldir, which I feel like you're the only person that would get that joke. Like, oh my gosh, Nick, they're
Heldir.
saying
The dwarf breathed so loud we could have shot him in the dark.
Eldar
Lord
and
of the
Heldir.
Rings. Yeah.
Which is
Heldir.
awesome. But it definitely made me think of those different characters. And it was cool, but I felt like, they're so cruel with the way that they took over the Condors. Like they did it with such brute force and they were a little bit, inhumane again, which unfortunately, this is what got them into this position to begin with. We don't want to see this village suffer. We don't want anything bad to happen to the Vikings. But at the same time, you guys are still taking over these poor Condor.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to call them Condors for now, with choking them
Mm-hmm.
when we've never seen Spear do that to Fang. There's always been a camaraderie between a human to an animal, a little bit of a relation being built versus let me just choke you and force you to fly. And then, of course, we see Spear and Mira let them go at the very end. And I mean, it was a brutal death that like was just, oh man, I thought for sure
On the rock.
the dad was going to go.
Mm.
Oh, the splat.
Yeah,
That was a
splat on the
splat.
rock. Yeah, pretty intense.
That was
And
a
then
big splat.
what was cool too, there was 2 fight scenes really in this episode. You got like the water fight
Oh, yeah.
scene, and then there was the break where we discover, the eggs are being laid, and then it's like the second the second attack from the air. So first it was like a
Right.
surprise
But now
attack,
they do have a ship. hmm
which they're probably going to repair, and then who knows where they're going to go. And one of the most interesting things that was I thought was the best for the story plot was the demon god through the fire. Because it's like, okay, now where are they going with this story? Is it going to be a demon that's going to be the main bad, like overall, like, this demon of whatever's gonna. I'm thinking of like Samurai Jack almost demons because it has like the horns and stuff like that too. So I'm like, oh my gosh, are they going to go supernatural with this, where they're going to be fighting a supernatural like villain at the end? kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that's cool,
Well,
because that it just opens the door to so much more now.
yeah, I think we're definitely going to see the ending of the season. It's all going to be about the babies, right? Because everything's about the babies, and we don't know what's going to happen with Sphere and Mira. Like, obviously,
If they're gonna have kids too.
they're going to have to at this
Oh
point.
man, are they gonna do the House of Dragons thing where they try to pair a baby with an egg? So it's like you're gonna be the writer and you're gonna be connected to the dragon / dinosaur.
I did think that was kind of funny how that happened on the opening weekend of House of Dragon. I was like, okay, like I am watching it on HBO, even though I know it's an Adult Swim show. I am watching Primal on HBO, and so I went from Primal that weekend to House of Dragons. Like, okay,
And
guys, we get it.
We'll watch it there as long as we can, because as we know, they got rid of Sesame Street on HBO Max.
Another one.
They're making cuts like crazy, and I think it was because of the rights, how expensive it was to have Sesame Street, and like they have to pay for the rights and stuff like that. So they removed it because they're really cutting down and stuff. But with the receptive House of Dragons, how well that did the first episode, we'll see if they start to invest more into shows again, because we want more content. We want more original stories too. It's so much fun. Like even this whole Primal series has just been such a treat compared to a lot of the other content that we're consuming out there.
Right. I can't really think of, compared to the other episodes, the most prettiest shot. Now that you mentioned it, it was like the other episodes we both had this like, wow, that was so cool with the ocean, or wow, that was such a pretty scene. Like even in the season 1, when you get those super Samurai Jack with the fire, I didn't really see anything. Even compared to like the Red Dust episode, there wasn't a big cinema aspect to this episode. I feel like this was a little bit more story heavy and like setting up for the next plot.
Yeah, it was definitely more action packed. I guess the coolest shots would be on the boat with the mist. Is more of the unknown, but the valley was pretty epic though. Like how steep the walls were and everything, like that was pretty epic. But it's like when you go to Yosemite, they are epic walls, but they're a little too epic, where it's like you can't fit it all in frame. Like you literally have to like look up to see the top. So it's like it just ends up just looking like a wall, like a brick wall behind, not a brick wall, but a rock granite wall behind you. So you kind of lose the actual scope that you can't get in a frame unless you use like a super wide lens, but that's not beautiful cinematography of just using a wide lens all the time. So
yeah, sometimes when you get just too much data within a photo, when you're shooting at too wide of an f-stop, it's like, okay, that's just too much I was just playing Assassin's Creed. Like I was playing he's really into it right now.
Which
I was
one?
playing, and there was this I want to say it's the Greek one, because he has a unicorn that he can ride in it.
Are you sure it's Assassin's Creed? And he's not playing WoW?
No, like his horse can also turn to a Pegasus.
I'm just joking.
Which was like, we were totally debating about it. He's like, Brittany, this isn't Super Smash, because I just want to do all these like quick combos, and it's more strategic, and I've never played on an Xbox thing. But there was a shot when he goes with the eagle, and you're looking at the different islands, and it's like, this is cool, but there's too much data, where it wasn't like Zelda, where you're looking, you're like, oh, this is pretty. I didn't feel like it was Twilight Princess, or even what was the last one I didn't finish. Don't judge me. Yes, I didn't finish it, but you still get these rad landscapes, and you didn't really get that with this episode.
Yeah, because I think we were like in a little war bubble. You had high walls. It was almost like they were in a cage fight. You know what I mean? Like they're almost stuck in this little area where they can't run. They have to stay and fight. So maybe it was all on purpose. Like
every episode, well, they were running,
but
I feel like they're constantly running.
Enclosed. Like it was hard. It was harder to run. Like you had the river, which you can't escape on because the boat was damaged. And then, the boat was damaged. That's why they pulled off. And then they have to protect the eggs now. So they almost felt like they were fighting in a corner, backed up to a corner kind of thing.
Yeah, which is kind of funny in that opening scene too, when you have Spear running and getting the fish, and you have like, oh, just put the woman to work, like, because she's like, oh, I gotta fix the ship, and
but she's probably the only one that knows how to do it.
Yeah, I guess if you say that.
Have we seen him make anything yet? Well, I guess he did make a boat.
Yeah, he made the raft.
He made the raft, but like this seems a little bit more complicated with the bends and turns and stuff. But hey, not gonna doubt him. He's probably is capable, but I'm gonna leave it in the capable hands of Mira. So
Well, she's super strong. Like some of the things she pulled off, like when Eldar was just like pop, 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 and she's holding on to him.
Yeah.
Like
She got, yeah,
that's
she
some
definitely took a beating.
strength, girl. Like she was holding on for her dear life.
And I don't know if he's left with any weapons now. I don't know if they lost weapons.
I feel like they keep making bows.
Okay.
Maybe it's Mira.
Okay.
I feel like there's always a bow.
Okay. There's always a bow.
Yeah,
Nice.
she's really good at it. It was funny when, like, on the wiki fandom, they're like talking about the characteristics. It's like Mira, weapon maker, cook.
That's funny. So, if you had to pick your favorite episode so far, which one would it be?
From this season?
Yeah. Is this up there as one of the top, or no? Is it more mid?
I'm gonna say the most impactful episode was still with Red. The baby daddy going down, because that I think was when episode you saw the most emotion.
Was that episode 3?
Yeah, the red. We kept on calling it the Red Dawn or the Red Mist.
Yes. You're talking about the episode after that. So when it was the one with the cave scene, basically, right? Yeah, I think it is episode 3. So it started with the cave paintings, and then they went into the village.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I'm getting those blurred.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he died at the end of it, Red. So with the whole battle scene in the village, and then when the T-Rex dies at the end, it's like, oh.
So okay, so you like episode 2? Okay, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, that was a good episode.
That one made me cry.
The Red Dawn was pretty intense.
Red Dawn.
And then I don't know if that's the actual name of the episode. That's what I call it. But I still think my favorite one is the first one, just for the visuals, because there was some amazing, stunning visuals in there. Storytelling was good, but it was more of the visuals that had me won over. So let us know down below what your favorite one is. We really want to know. If you made it this far, great. Let us know. That would be amazing. Let us know which one was your favorite. Anything else that you wanted to mention about this episode?
I would like to know some predictions from people. What do you think's going to happen to the babies? I want to know, like, do we think we're going to keep all 3 babies? Is this going to be another, Targaryen situation? Like, how many of the eggs? How many of the dragons? How many are we going to have? Do you think they're all going to survive? Like, do we think one of the main characters are going to lose? Like, are we going to lose Fang, Mira, like Spear, or the babies? Like, somebody's got to go at some point within the story writing. Who do you think it's going to be, or no one?
And who's going to end up being the big bad? Is there a bigger monster we don't know about? Are there more humans out there? Or are there, like, demons?
Is the chieftain coming back?
Yeah, are there demons? Is he going to be resurrected? Be a zombie chieftain? Let us know, because it seemed like he was communicating with some kind of death god in the fire. So, or god,
really
god of death.
When you say it like that.
But think about it, like that god has to be a death or some kind of god where it promotes death and violence, because they were so they had captives. They would very aggressive when there's an intruder and stuff like that, like full on war kind of people. So I'm very excited to know. I wonder if this is going to cross over at all with Samurai Jack too. I wonder if it's the same universe and just different gods at different stages and stuff like that too. So
that would be wild. Get it? Wild.
Wild and primal. So go follow chacha.cherry on Instagram. She's an amazing photographer. Go check out her work. If you do go there, just let her know you came from AsArt. That would be awesome. And then go to asart.space for all the audio video links and cool shirts we're working on. We want to grow this channel more, so by getting a shirt, it just supports the channel and what we're doing here. And if you do like it, subscribe so you can get all the video updates, and go to asart.space for audio and video links, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. Yeah, I mean, how many more battle scenes do you think are left at this point?
This whole thing, this like anything that Tartakovsky does